Hello guys, good afternoon. You have any doubts from the previous class? Any doubts from the previous class? Any doubts? Any doubts from the previous class? Online people. Can you able to hear my voice? Any issues?
Yes, sir.
You can able to see the screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Observe. Command line arguments. Next to topic. Next to concept. Command line arguments. Command line arguments. What are command line arguments? Whenever you are running the program, whenever you are running the class, you will be supplying some of the arguments to the program, some of the arguments to the program before running the program. Before you are trying to run the class, you will supply some arguments to that program. How to work on that arguments? What is the usage? By default, JVM will be executing the main method. By default, JVM will be executing the main method. Now, main method is accepting what? One string reference. Observe, string array. Arg is the reference. String array. This is a reference. Now what happens? While JVM is invoking this main method, one string object will be created. Then that string object will be supplied to this args. This args will be pointing to that string object. Okay. Now observe. Compilation success. While running, simply run. Simply run. What I'm getting here, args value I'm getting. See, wherever this string object is pointing, that memory location address we are getting in the form of hash code. Wherever this string object is there, that location address, okay, in the form of hash code, class name at the rate some values in the form of hash code. Okay, this is, you can consider it as memory location of that object. Okay, we'll come to know more about that. Now come to the second class. Come to the second class. Usually, to find out the length of the array, we'll be calling a length property. We'll be calling the length property on the array. Here, string is the array. String is the array. args dot length. I'm going to find out the length of this string array. Compile and run. Compile and run. Length is 0. Length is 0. Length is 0. Now, second time I'm running. This time, supply something. This time, supply something. ABC. While running. This is what we are calling command line arguments. Command line arguments. In the form of string. In the form of string. In the form of string. After B space ABC, it is going to store in the args of 0th location. Now, if you supply, observe, for this, length is the 1. Hello world colon, length is 1. Now next, ABC, XYZ. Now, args of 0th location ABC, args of 1th location XYZ. Length will be 2. Length is 2. Length is 2. Length is 2. Command line arguments. By using space as a separator, we are supplying command line arguments. Command line arguments. Anything you can supply here, that will be internally converted to string only. Okay, the command line arguments will be converted to string only, and that is storing inside the string object. String object. String array object. Okay, string array object. String array object. If I don't supply any command line arguments, the length of that string array will be what? Empty string array. Length will be 0. Length will be 0. But it is not null. Okay. It doesn't matter what type you are supplying in the command line arguments. What values you are supplying in the command line arguments, that will be converting into string and storing inside the string array object. String array object. So that is why I can able to call the length property on args. This is the array args, string array args. While JVM is calling the main method is going to create one object for this, then assigning that object to args. Length will be whatever the length that we are supplying while running. Okay, size will be whatever the size that we are supplying as a command line argument, that length. If I don't supply anything, that will be empty string array object. Empty string array object, length will be 0. Any number of any type of any number of any type of values you can able to supply. Space considered as the separator between command line arguments. Now here ABC I'll supply string format. 19 is the int format, int value. Now true is what? Boolean. A is what? Character value. Okay. Now length is what? 4. 4 arguments I have supplied. 1, 2, 3, 4. Length is 4. Index is starting from what? 0. 0. Space as a separator. It is considering the space as a separator between the command line arguments. So I'm trying to print the arguments that I have supplied while running the program. Before running the program, this is the for each loop. We know this for each loop. ARGS. I'm supplying, I'm trying to iterate through this string array object by using for each loop. I'm trying to iterate through this string array using this for each loop or enhanced for loop. Each time element will be printed. Each time element will be printed. All the elements till the end of the string array. Till the end of the string array. Compile and run. See, I don't supply anything now, but I'll just to say, see, total number of arguments is 0. Total number of arguments is 0. Now to print, no elements are there. No elements are there. That is why we are not getting anything. Now, ABC, XYZ, 20, K. Total number of arguments is 4. Now what are those elements? Argument ABC, argument XYZ, argument 20, argument A. Character. Now, whatever the argument I'm supplying, that is of type string. If that is of type string, I can store it to the string, right or wrong? I can store it to the string. Now, D class. D class. Compile. Then what I'll do? Only one element I'll supply. 10. 10. Observe, I'll get exception. First main begin will be printed, then 0. After that, array index out of bounds exception at line number 8. No, sir. Main begin will be printed. ARGS of 0 we have, right or wrong? ARGS of 0. While running, I have supplied one element. ARGS of 0. 0th index, one element got stored, that is 10. That is only storing inside the S1. Then printing this separation 0. Then trying to access ARGS of 1. But ARGS of 1 is not available. Right or wrong? ARGS of 1 not available. That is why we are getting what? Array index out of bounds exception. In order to execute this program properly, 4 arguments you need to supply. 4 arguments. 4 arguments while running. 4 arguments, give the 4 arguments. 4 arguments. All are running means we are not getting any exception. Okay. See here, you'll come to know more about arrays in the arrays class. Here, ARGS of 0 available or not? Yes, available. This is the 0th index. This is the 1th index. second index, third index. Till third only we are accessing. If you are accessing fourth, you'll get what? Array index out of bounds exception. If you try to access the fourth index, you'll get the array index out of bounds exception. Now simply I'm printing S1, S2, S3, then main end. Whatever the element, whatever the arguments I have supplied while running the program, those arguments I'm storing inside the string. Those arguments I'm storing inside the string in my program, right? Then I'm printing those arguments stored inside S1, S2, S3, S4, then printing the same. Then printing the same. What we are trying to do? ARGS of 0, whatever the argument supplied as args of 0, that is stored inside S1. Args of 1 will be stored inside S2. Now what I'm trying to do? ParseInt. ParseInt is the method that is available in the integer class. In the integer class, we have the parseInt method. You'll come to know about this in the wrapper class more in detail. Okay. As of now, what I'm trying to do, it is going to accept string as the argument, and it is trying to convert it to the int. It is accepting parseInt is accepting string as the argument. Then whatever the content is there in the string format, that is trying to convert it to the int type, int value. Integer dot parseInt. Now whatever the command line arguments we have supplied, by using that I'm performing some operation in my program. I'm performing some operation in my program. I'm adding those two arguments. Result I'm storing inside K. Addition of I and J is K. Here one condition is there. While you are supplying the arguments, that should be of numbers only. Numbers. That means whole numbers. Whole numbers only. If you supply string, what happens now? Number format exception. Here, E, A, B, C, X, Y, Z. Number format exception. If you want to perform the addition, compulsory you should supply what? Number. Whole numbers. In this case, 100. Addition of 100 and 200 is 300. Instead of hard coding the values in our program, I'm giving a chance to the user to input some values as the command line arguments. By taking those inputs as a command line arguments, from that input we are performing some operation in our program. Okay, we are not hard coding. Here I'm trying to find out the square root of a number. Okay, square root of a number. There is an inbuilt method inside the math class, sqrt, that is taking one int as argument. Int as argument. The returning value will be double. Okay, the returning value will be double. Return value, return. The return type of this sqrt will be double. That will be returning what? Double value. That is why I'm creating double variable storing inside that. Okay. If I say int, that is not compatible. It is going to return in the double. Okay. That is why I'm creating the double j. Now, first what happens? Whatever the command line argument I supply to the args of 0, that is only one command line argument. That will be converted to the int type. See here, whatever I supply, that is string type. Right? String array only, right? So that is why what I'm trying to do, parse int. I'm trying to convert that string content to the int. If it is really the content is int, otherwise you get number format exception. Now, whatever the content I have converted to the int, storing inside int type. Now, for sqrt method, I'm supplying that I value, that int value. Now, I'll be finding out the square root of that number. The resulting will be in the double, that is storing inside the double G. Square root of 3 is what? Square root of 3 is what? Confusion. 9. You get 9.0, right? Because of double. See here, I need to run what? F. Square root of 3 is what? J value. Square root. Square root. Square root of 4 is what? 2.0. Square root. Okay. If you say 9, what is the square root of 9? 3.0. Right or wrong? Square root. Square root. So here, I'm trying to find out the minimum value of two numbers. I'm taking the input as the command line argument. Both are I'm converting into type. Then initially minimum will be the first argument. Initially the minimum will be the first argument. That is what? ARGS of 0. Minimum. For as of now, I'm considering minimum value as I value. That is what? ARGS of 0. If condition, if ARGS of 1 less than ARGS of 0. Minimum is reinitializing to J, ARGS of 1, right? Then minimum of I and now this if condition is failing. Right or wrong? Understood? One. Hmm? What about Rachna? Any doubts, online people? Online people, please respond. Any issue you are facing? Fine. Now, Understood this? Everybody? Huh? Understood or not? One. See, observe here. While running this program, I'm supplying two command line arguments. Two command line arguments. Assume that both are int type. Int. Now those are converted to int. Yes. Whatever I supply, the content is of int type. So string will be converted to int. Okay. We don't get any exception now. That the string content will be converted to int, storing inside I and j. ARGS of 0 content is storing inside I. ARGS of 1 content is storing inside j. Both are int. Both are int. Now I'm declaring one variable called min. Initially, min will be the value of I. Initially, I'm considering I as the minimum. Initially, I'm considering I as the minimum. What is that? ARGS of 0. If condition, if second argument is the minimum, if second argument is minimum than the first argument, if second argument is less than the first argument, that means if ARGS of 1 is less than ARGS of 0, minimum is reinitializing to j, minimum is reinitializing to ARGS of 1, one value, ARGS of 1 value. If it is not, returning false, comes out, minimum remains I only, ARGS of 0 only. Minimum of I and j is minimum. Which one is minimum? Understood? Not quite clear. What am I- H. See here, I'm providing two values. Okay? Whatever the value you supply, that will be converted to string only. String only. Now observe. By default, it is taking space as a separator. This is one argument. This is another argument. This is one argument. And this is another argument. But I want these two as the same. I want to consider these two as the same. Means here I want space also. Okay. I want to consider this whole thing as one argument. I want to consider this whole thing as one argument. If I simply run this, what happens? Two arguments. Like Kumar. Two arguments. I want to consider it as one argument. If that is the case, keep the double quotes. double quotes. Then it is considering it as one argument. One argument. Only one argument. Only one argument. Now consider this case. Some of you might be thinking that if I give this colon, not colon, it is single, a pair of single quote. Okay, a pair of single quote. Now, it is not considering as the what one argument, one argument. No, totally this argument is what one string element, one string. Fine. So it is like this. What happens? What happens here? This one is one argument. This one is another argument. This one is another argument. Okay, right? If you only give this one, now it is considering it as one argument. Okay, one argument. So if you want the space, you can go for that. Okay, if you want to consider the space also as the argument, you can go for that. Okay, so what are all the main points here in case of command line arguments? In case of command line arguments, what are the main points? By default, JVM will be calling the main method. While calling the main method, it is going to create one string object. That object will be supplied as the argument to the main method. To call the main method, I must supply one argument or not? JVM will be supplying one object as the argument. That object is assigned to what? ARGS. Length will be 0 if I don't supply anything. Now length will be increasing according to the length will be setting according to the command line arguments whatever I supply. This string length, this string array length will be setting according to the command line arguments that I supply while running this program. Length will be that length. If I don't supply anything, no, empty string, length with 0.
But it will not display length.
If I don't what?
But it will not display length in the command prompt.
In the command prompt itself, here we have seen, observe carefully, hello world, ARGS of length.
Then it will
Ah,
normally I'm saying without dot.
why it should display? See, I'm making use of the command line arguments that I supply. If I don't supply, what is the use? If I supply anything while running, by using those command line arguments, I'll make some operation in my program. If I don't supply anything, we are not making use of that feature, command line argument. Okay. If requirement is there, use that. Now give the supply input as the command line argument, then you can able to do some operation based on whatever you have, whatever you are getting from the as the command line arguments in the program. See what is this? It is one kind of user input. Okay. We are not hard coding. We are not hard coding the values while performing the operation in the program. We are not hard coding. We are not setting the values. Okay, it should be 100 only. It should be 200 only, like that. Whenever you are running the program, you can supply anything. Each time you are running the program, you can supply any value. The topic is encapsulation. 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 What is the definition of encapsulation? So definition will be wrapping up of data and code together, right? Wrapping up of data and code together. So we'll get the security in case of encapsulation. How we are achieving the security? How we are achieving the security here? Here, three members or properties of the A class, I'm setting it as private. Next topic itself, it is the packages and access levels. They will come to know what is this private. So as of now, what is private means, if you declare any member as private, that can be only accessed within the same class, wherever you are declaring. In that class only, you can able to use that private member, not anywhere, not outside that class. Okay, in whichever the class you are declaring that a private member, in that class only you can able to use, not outside that class. The scope of this private member is limited to that class, not outside that class. Now three properties. What are those properties? Private string name, private string ID, now private int age. These are the properties I cannot able to access from outside this A class. But there is an indirect way. There is an indirect way. There is an indirect way. What are those? Bulging getters and setters. Bulging getter and setter method. Bulging getter and setter method. Now observe. This is the driver class. Whichever the class is having the main method. Okay. That I'll be calling it as what? Driver class. Driver class. Now my driver class is having the main method. In the my driver class, I'm creating the object to A class. Creating the object to A class. Carefully observing it. I'm making all the methods of the A is public so that I can access from the outside of this class. Okay. I'm making all the methods as public so that I can access these methods outside the A class. Now, what are the methods we have? Public int get age. Returning what? Age. This age. Then public string to get a name. Returning what? Name. This. Public string get ID now. It is returning ID. It is returning to the caller. Caller is this methods. This methods. Now set. Public void set. Public void set age. Now what I'm doing? While calling this method from outside this class, I'm passing one value. That value is assigning with the A class age variable. We are not accessing directly. We are not accessing the age directly in another class. We are trying to supply the value and trying to access the values from outside the class. How? By using setter and getter and setter. While calling this set, I'll be passing a value. That value will be assigning with the whatever the variables I have declared it as private. Why I can able to access these methods, because these methods are declared as public. If any member is declared as public, those members I can able to use anyway. Wider usage. Public is the wider usage. Now observe here, I'm creating an object to A class. I'm creating an object to A class. Now, initially what I'll do, initially I'll do one thing. Initially I'll get whatever the default values are there. Those default values I'll get. For the string, the default value is what? Null. For the int, what is the default value? 0. So for the name, I'll get null. For the age and the ID num, I'll get what? 0. If I don't call the set methods, if I directly call the getter methods, current value, that means what? While creating the object of A class, those properties will be initializing with the default values, right or wrong? Initializing with what? Default values. ID number, it is actually string. Okay. Name and ID num will be getting null, default value. Then age will be in the int 0. So now initially name and ID will be null, age will be 0. Now I'm calling the set method, set name, one string I'm passing as the Vijay. Now it is calling the set name method. Set name method I can access because it is public. Get name also I can access. Get age I can also access. Get ID number also I can access. Why? Because those are public methods. But the thing is, you need to use a reference. Why? Because those are non-static methods of the A class. Now A1 data set name, I'm passing Vijay. Now new name will be assigning with what? Vijay. Now that Vijay is assigning with what? Name. This name. To avoid the confusion, what you can do now? Simply you can say this dot age. This dot age. Same. Okay. That age means what? Current object property. Current object property. Now, second time, what I'm doing here, I'm calling set age. This time, I'm calling set age, passing 990 as the age. Now, new age will be storing with what? 990. That 990 is supplying to age. Now, age value will be what? 990. Then after that, set ID num. Calling the set ID num method, passing what? A1 420. That value I'm supplying. Okay. So ID num. This new ID will be storing with that value A1 420. That A1 420 is assigned with the ID num. Then if you are calling the getter methods, whatever the values are currently there, those values, what are those values? Vijay 990, A1 420. Those are the values. I'm not trying to access these properties directly. We cannot able to access. Why? Because those are private, limited to that class only, A class only. Outside this A class, how can I use that? By using setter and getter. But setter and getter methods must be public to access from outside the class. compile and execute this. Initially, sorry, is the another package. So we should run which class? My driver class. That is having the main method. My driver. See, initially, name will be null, ID will be null, age will be 0. After that, if I call the getter methods, name will be Vijay, age will be 990, ID will be U by 4. Those values, whatever the values we have set by using the setter methods. First, I'm calling what? Getter methods, default values. Then by using the setter, I'm setting the values. Then once again, I'm calling the getter methods. Now updated value. Okay, updated value. Understood or not? Encapsulation. That much. Encapsulation. Now we'll move on to packages and access levels. Very important. Packages and access levels. So please write down this diagram, everybody. Make a note of it. Done. Done. Packages and access levels. See here, app 1. App 1. Inside the app 1, I have created classes and SRC. Go inside the SRC. Inside SRC, I have these many folders: AppTech, COM, Pack1, Pack2. Go inside AppTech. I have B.Java, C.Java. Inside COM, I have another one folder called RST. Inside the RST, I have C.Java, E.Java. Inside COM, I have A.Java, D.Java. Inside the Pack1, A.Java. Inside the Pack2, B.Java. Now, inside the app1 SRC, go to the AppTech folder, B.Java. While you are working with the packages, here compulsory you need to declare package. What is the package that you are using? If you are working in the packages, package declaration must be there. While you are working with the packages, package declaration must be there. In case of Eclipse, by default, you will be getting the package. How to work without Eclipse? Working with the packages. If you are working with the packages, this declaration is mandatory. Package AppTech. Package is what? A keyword. Now what is the package? AppTech. Inside the AppTech package. Now observe carefully. From which folder we need to compile and run? From the SRC folder itself. Okay. Copy this SRC. This one carefully observe. You'll get the confusion. From the SRC folder, Java C -b double dot forward slash classes. In which folder I have this B.Java? In which folder?
Okay.
AppTech folder. So AppTech B.Java. In the SRC folder, I have what? In the SRC folder, I have AppTech folder. Inside the AppTech folder, I have B.Java. So compilation. If you are directly giving this, sir, why not found? Why not? Observe. I'm commenting. Save it. Inside the SRC we don't have. Inside the SRC we don't have the B.Java. inside the AppTech folder. Inside the AppTech folder we have. So assume that here I'm giving AppTech. Careful. I have commented the package. Remove it. Okay, no issues at all. Remove it. I'm not giving any package declaration, package declaration. Now here, inside that pack only I have VDAT. Okay. Now, after compiling, this dot class file should be stored. Will be stored in what? In source classes. So yeah. Here in the app one we have the classes AppTech folder. Inside that AppTech folder, VDAT will be stored. Now I'll remove everything. You don't want this all these things. Now, once again, compile this. Compile. Now, in which folder it got stored? In the SRC folder, we have the AppTech folder. Inside the AppTech folder, we have B.Java. But in the B.Java, I did not include the what package declaration. Package declaration I did not include. If I did not include the package declaration while saving the dot class file, it is not creating the folder called the AppTech in the classes folder. Right or not? If I don't give the package declaration, what happens? Directly it is going to store inside the classes folder. Inside the classes folder, I want a hierarchy. What is that hierarchy? I need to create a AppTech folder. Inside the AppTech folder, I need to store that class file, B.Java. Sorry, B.class. Inside the classes folder, if you give the package declaration here, what happens? One folder will be created in the classes folder called AppTech. Inside that AppTech folder, it is storing what? Class. Here what happens? Directly it is storing in what? Classes folder. That is why if I give the package declaration. Now, after compilation, okay, what happens? After compilation, what happens? One folder will be created in the classes folder. Call it what? AppTech. Inside that AppTech folder, B.data class will be stored. As of now, there is no such folder called AppTech inside the classes. Now compile this once again. What is the name of the file? D, right? Compilation success. AppTech folder got created inside the classes. Inside that AppTech folder, B.data class. This one I deleted. Okay. Now, how to run? Within the SRC only, Java -cp // classes AppTech folder .b. That means what? Current directory. That represents current directory. Class path I'm providing. AppTech folder. In the AppTech folder, current folder. AppTech is the current folder. In that folder, B. That class entry. From AppTech. Okay. This is the procedure you should follow. In case you are working in packages and access levels without Eclipse. In Eclipse, it is very easy. No issues at all. By default, it is only generating the code, everything. As a beginner, you should avoid using the Eclipse. You don't get anything. Now, inside the COM folder, I have the RST folder. Now, C.Java. package declaration will be what? Inside the COM folder, we have the RST folder. Inside the RST folder, I have C.Java. Inside the SRC folder, we have the COM folder. After SRC, what is there? You should supply here. After source, what is there? That you should supply. Inside the COM folder, I have the RST folder. Inside the RST folder, I have C.Java. Right. How to here SRC is there. Copy the path. CD paste. Within the SRC. How to combine double C maybe double dot forward slash access. Then what is the package? COM package slash RST package forward slash C dot Java. Enter. Compilation success. Go to the classes folder. In which order it has got created? Inside the classes folder, COM folder. Inside the COM folder, one folder will be created. That is what folder? RST folder. Inside RST, it is going to place what? C data class. C data class. How to run? How to run? Slash access COM dot RST
dot Z.
and package back to inside the SRC. Inside the SRC back to operation success. Run.
Dot
Back to dot B. So this is how we can able to work in packages. Now we'll see access levels. Private access specifier or modifier. Access specifiers and modifiers both are same. Okay? Access specifiers and modifiers both are same. Private access modifier. Private int I. If anything that got declared as private, if any member that got declared as private, the scope of that member remains in the class only. The scope of that member is limited to that class only. I can be only used within this class context, within the only A. Pump is to trigger the Java C and the Java command from the SRC. To come back to previous folder cd data here. Let's see, only double dot slash A run 08. Class B, inside the class B, one member is there. What is that member? In type. That got declared as private. That got declared as private. Now the scope of that member is limited to that B class only. The scope of that member is limited to that B class only. I'm trying to access that B class private member outside the B class. Not possible. Not possible. Try to compile. Private. I has private access in B. I has private access in B. Not possible. This is a private method for any member. You can able to set the access modifier. For variable you can set, for method you can set. For variables you can declare, for method you can declare. For constructor also you can declare. Constructor can be declared with what? Access modifier. Possible. But SIB and IIB cannot be declared with access modifiers. Now, D class object I'm creating possible. Now, using D1 reference, I'm trying to access the test method. Test method is having the private access in the D class. Test method is having the private access in the D class. We cannot able to access the test method from outside the D class. Not possible. Private static int type is equal to 90. What happens here? Can I access this I outside the F? Possible? Possible or not? Not possible. I has private access in F. For the static also, for the static variable also we can set the private. For non-static variable and methods also we can able to set the private. Now, if anything that got declared as private, with the properties, with the variables, we know that how to use that Pershing setter and getter. We have seen in encapsulation, no setter and getter, right? If a variable that got declared as private, how to use that variable without that, without accessing that variable indirectly by using setter and getter. Here I cannot able to directly touch the I is equal to no way. Happens. Compile time error. Compile time error. H. Has private access. That is by. That is by what I'm trying to do. Getter and setter method. Getter, then set, then get. Fine. Same program, encapsulation. No option. private int x, then int y. Now, this is the private member. This is what if I don't give anything. This is the default access specifier or package level. Default access specifier or package level access specifier. Okay, default access or package level. If I don't give anything, that is what? If I don't specify any access modifier, then that will be considered as default or package level. Okay, some people will be calling it as friendly also. Okay, keep that in mind. Default, package level, friendly, all are same. Now, y I can access, but x I cannot access. Check. Here, what is happening? K extends to J. This is the concept of inheritance. Will come to the properties of the J class will be inheriting to what? K class. Here, except x, y will be inherited because x I cannot be able to access from outside the class. X has private access in J. But y I can access. X we cannot able to access. Compile term error. Method test1 declared as what? Private. I cannot access test1, but I can access test2. Test1 I cannot because of private. Cannot find this number. Private methods are not inheriting to the subclass. Private methods are not inheriting to the subclass. I can declare the constructor with the access modifier. First, interviewer will ask, can I specify the access specifier or modifier for the constructor? Possible. But return type is not possible. Okay, return type is not possible. Constructor is not a method to give the return type. But constructor can be declared with what? Access modifier. Possible. Now, if the constructor is declared as private, you can only access that constructor within the class context only. Within that class only you can access. Within that class only I'm invoking. Possible. No issues at all. Come to that. Possible. Constructor wo is having the private access modifier in the wo class. whether this program is syntactically correct or not. Anybody? Can anybody tell what happens here? If I compile q.java, syntactically correct or not? Correct? Correct? Why? Where am I accessing? Oh, okay. Then am I calling that? What happens? Online people, please respond. What happens in this case? Syntax is correct. What happens? Please reply. What happens? Huh? If you tell this now, Pakka, I'll come to the conclusion that you are practicing. You should think. See, I'll get compile time error. Okay? Compile time error, I'll get, observe here. Okay? Why I'm getting that compile time error? Hmm? Huh? What main method? If I don't have the main method, do I get the compile time error? Huh? Now what happens? Why? Why? Why I'll get compile time error? Why? You know constructor concept, right? Or constructor concept. In every class, if I don't specify any constructor, will be different constructor. Need some more hint?
Super. Super conductor.
Then, then, then what? Attended a constructor class in Ego. Rachana. Attended. Megan attended, right? Sufyan. Attend ಮಾಡಿಲ್ವಾ?
Yes, sir.
ನಿನ್ನೆ ತಾನೆ ಅಟೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ವಾ? Why you were absent yesterday?
Not well.
Okay. In every class, there will be a default constructor. What happens? In every class, there will be a default constructor. That is what? No argument constructor. No argument constructor. In the R class, there will be a no argument constructor. That is the default constructor. Default no argument constructor. In the constructor body, first statement will be super with no argument. In the constructor body, in all the constructor body, if I don't give anything, if I don't specify anything, The first statement will be what? Super with no argument. That is calling what? Superclass no argument constructor. Here superclass with no argument constructor is what? Private. That is why. Right? It is like this. It is invoking the superclass constructor, but that constructor is declared as what? Private. Private. We cannot able to access at line number. Carefully. 13. We are invoking what? Superclass constructor. If I don't give anything, what? Compiler will be keeping default constructor. That is no argument constructor. First statement will be super with no argument. That is invoking. That is trying to invoke what? Superclass. Q class private constructor. That is no argument constructor. Not possible. That is why. Practice. Here what happens? Syntactically, whether this one is proper or not. What happens? What happens? T extends yes. Here one constructor is there in the T class. That is invoking what? Super class constructor, which is taking one int as the argument. This is the constructor. This constructor not declared as private. We can access. No issues. Actually, if I don't give anything, then only problem. If I don't give anything, compiler will be keeping what? Super with no argument. So that will be calling what? This constructor. Private constructor. That is why I'm keeping this. If you calling this constructor, it is not private. There is no issue. Compilation process. We cannot be able to set the modifiers for IIB and for SIB. We cannot able to set the access modifiers for IIBs and SIB. You get compiled them. What? We cannot be able to use the access modifier for SIB and IIB. Are you getting online people respond? Pack 2 SRC Aptec is not pack 2, it is pack 3. Okay, pack 3 SRC Aptec. Fine. Pack 3 SRC Aptec. Class A int type. Int type I'm not specifying any access modifier, so that will be default or package level default. Class B. I'm trying to create the object for the A class in the B class. Then I'm trying to access I. I is what? Default. Default member can I access within the same package? Answer please. Where is that chart? Refer to that diagram. Default member within the same package, non subclass. Possible. Same package means same folder. Same directory means same directory, package, folder, everything is same. Possible. That happened. Okay. Now, default member can I access same package subclass? C extends A. Now C becomes the subclass of A class. C becomes the subclass of A class. Same package. Subclass possible or not? No, what is happening? What is happening? Whatever the members are there in the A class, that is inheriting to C class. Now creating the C class object. By using C1 reference, I'm trying to access the type. Default members are inheriting to the subclass. Default members are inheriting to the subclass. Then default member I can access. Same package, subclass. Same package, subclass. Now B extends C. C extends A, right or wrong? C extends A, D extends C. Whatever that got inherited from the A class to C class, that is inheriting to D class. Now D also comes under the subclass of A class, but not immediate subclass. C is the immediate subclass, but not the D. C is the immediate subclass. D is, comes under subclass, but not immediate. But not immediate subclass. All the properties of C class is inheriting to D class also. Now, I can able to access possible. A, C, D. Now, observe one thing carefully. For class also, here I can specify the access modifier. Okay, I can specify the access modifier. But there is a twist. We'll come to know what is that. Till now we have seen public, right, or not? Public access modifier. If it is public, you can access anywhere. Now, if I don't give anything, it is the class level, sorry, it is the package level or default. Okay. Now, in the E class, I'm trying to create the object for E. In the E class, I'm trying to create the object for C. In the E class, I'm trying to create the object for D. Now, in all these here, inside the A only I have I, that is default, that is inheriting to C. I can access that. That is inheriting to D. I can access. Now, this comes under what? Same package, default members, same package, non-surplus, right or wrong? Here, E is the non-surplus, not a surplus. E is the non-surplus. E is the non-surplus. Same package, non-surplus. Compilation success, you can also run. 0 generated. Now, class F, void test1. Here, test1 is the default. I don't give anything, what? Default. It is the non-surplus. G is the non-surplus of F. I'm creating the object to F class, then trying to access the test1, that is default. Same package, non-surplus. Default member I can access, possible. H extends F. H extends F. In the F class only, I have what? Test1. Now, H extends F. Now, test1, I'm trying to access within the same package, subclass. Default. Possible or not? Possible. It is what? Another class. It is what? Test1 is available in the F class. Now, H is extending F. I is extending H. I also comes under the subclass of F class, but not immediate. But not immediate. This executes, compiles and executes very properly. No issues at all. It's one done. F class creating the object, calling test1. H class creating the object, calling test1. I class creating the object, calling test1. Possible or not? Possible. Carefully observe here. Inside the package, apptech. Inside the package, apptech. Class N got declared as public. Earlier, it was default, means now the classes, some of the classes we have used, we did not declare it as public. Okay, by default it was default. Here I'm specifying public. Public class here. Int I is there, that is default. Int I is what? Default. Come to the RST. Can I access default menu? Different package, non surplus. Possible? Huh? What is there? Not possible. Okay. Different package, non subclass. Default, we cannot able to access. At line number 7, I'll get here. Carefully observe. Cannot find a symbol A. So here, K class doesn't know what about the A. Okay. In the current package, we don't have any file with the A class. What was it?
If any A class is there in
In the current folder,
current one.
I don't have any file. I don't have any class. I don't have any Java file in the current folder with the name as what? I don't have any class in the current folder with the A. That is why cannot find symbol. I want to import. I have two options. How to import? Here, from the AppTech package, use the A. From the AppTech package, use the A. In the AppTech package only, I have the A. From the AppTech package, use the A. From the AppTech package, use the A. Wherever you are using A, give the AppTech folder. Inside the AppTech folder, A class. Possible. Did I save it? Inside the RST. RST. Actually, I need to compile what N. Here in the AppTech package, carefully observe. Yes, A is not public. In the AppTech package, A is not public. Default member. Default. I cannot be able to access from outside the package. Right or wrong? Now, can I access the text one of F class? In the F class, text one is what default. If is not public, we cannot able to access from outside the package. No, so default. Within the same package, same class, same package, subclass, same package, non-subclass you can use. But different package, not possible. Case of default. In case of private, only class within that class. Public you can access anywhere. Come to the book. You can access n in the AppTech folder. N class is a public. N is public. In the AppTech folder, N is public. I can access. But I is what? Inside the N class, I is what default. I cannot access. N I can access. I cannot access. Fine. Extends AppTech.in. I am trying to access. Possible? See different package. Default member I cannot access. So, E. Okay.
Sir, how it is default, sir, in that like it will take zero, so it
Hmm.
is in complete class.
Hmm. Okay.
Then how it is default? Because declaration is complete.
Here you can create the objective for n. Possible. But because that is public, you can access n. You can extend n. But the properties matters. Right or wrong? Properties. Members of that class. For members also I'm setting the properties. No. If it is the case, if I directly specify class itself, no. Why it is I need to declare it for method, I need to declare for constructor variable. Why is that? Right? I have directly specified it to the class itself. No. Now I can create the objective for n if it is public from outside the package. But I cannot access the I because it is default. From outside the package, we cannot able to access. Can create the objective to n because I'm not importing. Apptech dot n. Apptech. Now compile. Another way. I'm importing the class. I'm importing the class. This is the declaration. This is the import statement. See if the package and import both are there. First package declaration, then only import. Otherwise you'll get compiled. First package, then only import. Importing n class from the AppTech package. Now you don't have to specify AppTech here and here. Anywhere we are using the n, you don't have to specify the AppTech. Straight away we are importing the AppTech. If you say data star, all the files, star means folder, all the files. Within that folder, applica folder, all the files. If I want specifically, n. Which star? All the files. Not only n, all the files, all the classes. Can I create an object to u? Possible, huh? It is u class only, right? Then here extends n. I can create the object to n. Absolutely. Here extend the object n. Carefully observe what happens now. Cannot write simple. The properties of n is inheriting, not the n class itself. Understood? The properties of n class from the applica package, not the n itself. I'm extending the applica package n class. Means properties are inherited, not the n class itself. So for that, to import, you can specify applica.n, or you can go for what import statement. Here in the n class, it is I. I is what default. I cannot able to access. So that is why what I'll do, I'll make it as public. Come to the U. Now, what you will do? N1 dot I, U1 dot I in both the classes. I will be available or not? Available. But here, import. So what? Heck, fine. Good. Just because of it is public, I can able to access from outside the package I. If it is not public, I cannot able to access. Fine. See, V extends n. I'm importing here. Then there is no need of here. Okay. Then there is no need of keeping here what apply data. Directly you can specify n. Creating the object. I can create the object, but I cannot access the I can create the object to n. Why? Because n is public. But I cannot able to access the I. I is the default. I is the default, J is the protected, K is the public. A class. Carefully observe. Class itself is what? Public. Class itself is public. Class itself is the public. I is what? Default. J is what? Protected. K is the public. B extends A. No, not now. B. Now what happens? I'm creating the object to A. Now public member I can access anywhere, anywhere. Now I is what?
Sorry.
I can access where I'm accessing
Same folder.
same folder, same class,
Different
subclass.
different
Any same package, same package. What? Same package, not subclass. Same package. Whether B is extending A.
no no
All right. That is why.
no sir.
Not subclass. A1 dot I. What is the value?
0.
What can I access?
Yes.
Protected. Same package, non subclass. Possible? Possible or not?
Yes. Valid.
Same package, non subclass public. Possible. 3 zeros I'll get.
Yes.
Here. While running. Zeros. What is possible? What is not possible?
Everything is
Protected member can access same package subclass. Different package subclass.
yes. Protected is non subclass different package.
Now here observe same package subclass. Same package subclass. B extends to C. C extends A. C is the immediate subclass of A, right? Now D also subclass, but not immediate. All these are possible, right or wrong?
Possible.
See default, public, protected. All are possible or not? Same package, non subclass. Possible or?
Yes, sir. So we can have two immediate subclasses.
Immediate. How?
Then directly, if you extend A from D, D extends C. Like C extends A itself.
Ah,
Then D also extends A without C. It is possible.
that is possible.
Possible.
What you are saying, no. Here, class A is there. Here, class B extends A. Then here, the class C extends A. It's possible.
Then both are so weird.
Of course. Why not? Carefully observe. For this only I'll combine. Seven. Cannot find symbol B. Oh. What it is doing? No. It is taking these classes. Okay, that is what. It is taking these classes. So that is fine. So I'll do one thing. I'll comment this first. Okay. What you were saying? Which one? Possible. But what not possible? C extends A comma B. Not possible. Multiple inheritance is not possible. Multi-level is possible. All those. Come to the next package. Rest. Which one I can access? Which one I cannot access? Default can I access? Different package? No. Protected. Different package non surplus. Protected. Different package non surplus. No. Public I can access anywhere. Sorry. Here. Protected. Whether it is subclass. Different package non subclass. No. Right. Different package non subclass. Protected. Not possible. Two compartments. Different package non subclass is not possible. What? Come. Possible. Different package non subclass.
He's saying public only possible. Sir.
Ah, yes. Public. Loudly talk. I have some hearing issues. Okay. Here,
Default is not possible.
here, attack A. Extending A. A is what?
Public.
In the attack folder, A is what? public class. Which one I can, which one I cannot? Default I cannot. Huh? Which one I cannot?
Default and private.
Private. I'm not talking about private, man.
Default is not access. Default is not.
See, private, I'm not accessing here. Private, what is the private? Simple thing, private. What is that?
Within the class access.
What is
Not
that?
access is another.
In other class. That means that belongs to that class only. That is why I cannot able to hear these things after telling this much things. Okay. Yeah, I'm not talking about private here. Okay. Observe carefully. Only what? Default
Protected.
protected
Public.
public. Now here I cannot access. J
You can access.
can access or not? Different package subclass. Different package subclass. Observe here carefully what happens. Carefully observe. Carefully observe. Here I'm creating the object to A, not for the G. Right or not? I'm creating the object to A, not for the G. RST folder, right? To compile the mirror circuit. What is that? Here I'm creating the object for A, not for the G. For the G class only, the properties are inherited from the A class. Anyway, default I cannot access. J, why we cannot access? Because the property J is inheriting to G class. But I'm creating the object to A class. Using the G class reference, I need to access that, not the A class. Wherever it is inheriting, in the subclass, by using subclass object reference. By using subclass object reference, we can access that to J. Now I'll comment to this. So I cannot.
Default.
Default I cannot. Only default I can.
Only default.
J and K I can access.
Yes. Yes.
Only I cannot access. Wherever it is inheriting, by using that object reference only, you can access the protected member in the different package subclass. That point you should keep in mind. Wherever it is inheriting, by using that class object reference only, you can access the protected member outside the package subclass. Okay.
No need of importing.
No need of what?
Importing.
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 Here, why I should need import? Here, what I'm doing? apptaker.e, extending the properties of A and the A itself. Here, if I want to create the object for A, go for this. Once again, I'm using the A now while creating the object. Using the apptaker. If you don't want all these things, simply import. Go for import. Import aptech.e. That's it. Here observe carefully. G extends A. H extends G. Which one I can, which one I cannot? Hmm? Both are possible, huh? Both are possible or not? Protected. Different package. Subclass. Possible. But here, observe. A is inheriting to G, but we are extending the G with the H. Now H is not the immediate subclass of A, right? H is not the immediate subclass of A. What are we getting? 8, 9, 13. What is this? Same program, huh? App 4, App 4 SRC, RST. Actually H. This is what? Okay, same program. IJ 8, 9, 13. RST I'm giving. E1. Huh? App 4 SRC. Classes RST folder H. H dot Java.
I also
See, actually, where I'm getting the from G, I'm getting no
yes, sir.
from G dot Java I'm getting. You should get this for G, but I'm getting for H also.
It is getting G1 or I also. Which is not best.
What should I do? Any solution? Wherever I'm getting the error. Here, which one I cannot?
Default.
This one and this one I can.
Yes.
Here. Here what?
Default will not.
See how many times do I have to tell you? J, can I access the J here? By using A object.
No,
A
sir.
reference.
No.
No. So, whatever that got inherited to G class from A class, the same got inherited to what? H class. Now, it is a subclass. By using a H class reference only, I can access this J. Okay. Because H also comes under subclass, but not immediate. What about this? Whatever that got inherited from H class, okay, we are inheriting the properties from H class to the I class, to the I class. By using I can access J, but not the H, right or no? Wherever it is inheriting, wherever protected members are inheriting, there only I can use. Okay, wherever it is inheriting protected members, using that class reference only I can. Using that class reference only I can access, not any other types. Okay, not any other types. Even A also not possible. Okay. If you uncomment this, you'll get error at this line number. J has product access in A. See, the thing is, wherever it is inheriting the property protected in the different package, wherever it is inheriting, using that class object reference only you can access, not from any other class. Using L, you can able to access J, but not using I. Okay, simple. Wherever it is inheriting, using that class object reference only you can access, not from any object reference. Using M only, M class object reference only, I can access the J, not G or not L. Okay. If you know this much, no, nothing is there in packages and access levels. Closing guys, you can able to tell. This is the things. That's it. Okay. This is all about packages and access levels. And which concept we have covered? Command line arguments. Fine. It is updated. Now we can get the resource. Please answer your attendance. Vinay MS. Vinay. Arshita. Arshita BK. Arshita HH. Can you able to hear me? Guys. Chaitra BK.
Present, sir.
Suraj.
Yes, sir.
Madesh. Madesha.
Present, sir.
Kiran R. Syed Pasha. Syed Afzal Pasha. Chanapa. Purti. Spurti. Kirtana. Okay. Nishita Prakash. Nishita Prakash. Sufyan. Mohammed Sufyan. Chandan. Chandan K. Nandish Babu. Ram Kumar D. Rakshit Kumar.
Present, sir.
Anil Kumar.
Present, sir.
Archit. Archit Garg. Vaishnavi Hegde. Preetam Beer. Gagandeep. Salma Taj.
Present, sir.
Tarun Singh.
Sir, Preetham present.
Who is that? Preetama.
Preetham.
Okay. Then Abhishek Singh.
Yes, sir.
Gagan.
Yes, sir.
Ahmad. Ahmad Omar.
Yes, sir.
Deepthi. Deepthi. Shruti. Shruti R. Chandana Yam. Yamuna Yam. Harish D.
Present, sir.
Chaitanyam.
Present, sir.
Shalini.
Present, sir.
Kamala.
Present, sir.
Yashaswini.
Present, sir.
Samay Zuma. Basuraj. Already done now. Manesh already done. Sufyan already done. Ahmad also. Yamuna also. Shreya. Shreya. Shreya, yes. Harish D. Already done. Darshan. Already done. Darshan, yes. Darshan, yes.
Sir, is it okay? Our name is being twice.
Sorry, what?
My Chaitanyam, sir, name is twice in there.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Like,
Okay, sir.
Margaret.
then what else? Okay, fine. Yashaswini and
Margaret.
Margarita. Okay, fine. Okay, fine, guys. Tomorrow we'll continue. Thank you. Have a good day.